Hello YouTube. So today I thought I would show you what black walnut toxicity looks like. As you can see, here's a perfectly fine tomato plant that I planted a few weeks ago. Here's one that is a few months old and it has literally withered to about nothing and probably won't survive much longer. Now I have cut back a couple of these plants before I figured out what the dilemma was, and many of them had nearly ripe grape tomatoes, and I was unable to even harvest any ripe tomatoes this year because of this problem. So I figured I would show a few people what this exactly looks like so they can avoid making the same mistakes and maybe trying out a raised bed garden to avoid something like this if you live near black walnuts. Now, I live in a very mild climate, not many days above 90. Now it seems to me that pretty much the only plants that were affected in this area were my tomato plants, not my strawberries or peppers or potatoes, onions, garlic, anything of that sort. So basically what happens is, yesterday came out, and you can see this is all one plant here, and this plant was beautiful. It's beautiful, perky, just like the top is here. And the next day you'll come out and you'll see something like that. Now again, 24 hours ago when I looked at this, it was perfectly fine, no droopy leaves, and now it's dead. There's pretty much no hope for these things, as I have seen. After a good rain, maybe you can see some revitalization, a little bit more life to cling into these, but yeah, well, the damage is done here, and it's pretty much a disease that just kills your tomato plant over, well, it'll give it symptoms like this at first, and then it'll just kill back the entire tomato plant. If anyone has done anything besides raised bed gardens to stop problems like this, I'd love to know, because I'd really like to eat some of these tomatoes. They're everywhere. I don't know if I will ever see one of these ripen out and be able to eat them. It's kind of sad. And again, here's a plant that I chopped back before I figured out that the black walnut was causing this. And again, this was perfectly fine, up in the air, healthy yesterday, and now I come out today and it is nearly dead. And I did chop back these plants thinking that maybe I had some problems with, a hot day or drought, because we didn't have much rain in the last 3 weeks. The disease is only set in probably about 40 to 50% of the overall tomato plants, and sometimes they do come back a little bit, but again, it's the beginning of August and I still haven't harvested a tomato because many of the plants just have pretty much died back. Anyone's curious what a black walnut looks like, here's a couple before they're ripe. Smell like pine sol. There's a tree. I have another tree over here I'll give you a quick look at. It's like a fern leaf pattern. I'm actually going to probably chop this down later this week before it gets any bigger. It's a little too close to my shed. And here is some plants on the other side that are not very close to the black walnut tree that seem to be unaffected by the toxicity of the black walnut. And just here's a quick peek of my sugar snap bees. Strawberries. So again, if anyone has any ideas on how to maybe prevent something from happening like this besides raised bed gardens, I'd love to know. This majority of this soil in this area was composted from food scraps and lawn trimmings. Possibly some black walnuts made it in there. And again, I didn't have any problems till probably after a heavy rainfall, and a couple walnuts fell off the tree, and that's when I would start to see the drooping, and it sets in, rapidly. Like, again, this plant had it like a week ago. Heavy rainfall came, and it's still kind of clinging on. I'm hoping I could get a couple shoots like that to save it, but it's unlikely. Again, this plant yesterday was perfectly fine. Now it's droopy. Same with this. The top was fine yesterday, and now it's pretty much dead. This one has suffered from the black walnut illness for a few weeks now. I just trimmed it back yesterday, hoping I would get a couple sucker shoots to come out and maybe continue. And they have closer to the bottom. There's a few, but they're not even looking so good, so the plant's probably a total loss. Here's some plants I planted about a week ago for a late tomato harvest. They seem to be pretty much unaffected, except that they do have some very odd colors that I'm used to in this area. Again, we have a very mild climate. Highs probably mid-90s is as hot as it ever gets, and again, it's mid-August, so maybe high 80s would probably be the hottest day in August that we suffer. Maybe probably low 50s, 60s at the end of August is our cold temperature. And here's just another look at what happens with this black walnut droop. Just overnight you'll see this will be fine one day, and the next it will just droop, and a day after that it'll be dead. It's quite sad. I hope someone has some kind of remedies or tricks for combating something like this. I would like to harvest a couple of these tomatoes. It's beyond sad that I didn't figure this out earlier. Not that I probably couldn't have, I could have done anything about it. The gist of the story here is don't plant tomatoes under a black walnut tree. Alright, YouTube, thank you.